Let's talk about some losing mindsets that people have when it comes to companies and to what's happening with AI. I made a video recently about ClickUp laying off some of their employees, and people, the masses, always like to complain about layoffs. And I understand the complaint about companies laying people off. And because it's like people need jobs, people need to work, right? They have their livelihoods. But it's not a company's responsibility. It's not anyone's responsibility to just give you a paycheck. And that is entitled and lazy thinking. And it also it also is just like, it's just a reality of the world. Times change, needs change that companies have, workflows change, technologies reshape how businesses are done. It reshapes the marketplace for business, and it reshapes the skill sets that people have. Right, and so people like to hear layoffs, and like they feel threatened. And I understand, like, man, I don't want to lose my job. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? How am I going to earn money? And that's a really scary prospect, and I get it. But you have to recognize the realities that are playing out, and rather than trying to be a perpetual victim or feeling entitled to someone else paying your livelihood just because you exist. You have to start saying, okay, well, how can I be of value to this new company landscape? Just like you had to do in order to get the job at the company in the first place, you had to look and be like, what is this company hiring for? What skill sets are they looking for? Do I have those? If I don't have them, how do I get them? Right? That is absolutely essential. And just because you do it once doesn't mean that you're guaranteed for life to have those, to have that position. Excuse me. And so I want to read some of these things and of people's comments on here. And let's see here. $1 million. Someone commented on the ClickUp post, right? The haters, the masses. $1 million pay bans for the executives, right? Maybe, right? Maybe. And then the companies that only reward their executives are going to lose good employees. You have to have strategic employee compensation that makes it worth it, because otherwise, if they're trained and they have these skill sets, what are they going to do? If they're not being paid appropriately for their contributions, they're going to go elsewhere, okay? That's where they're going to go. And that's the reality. And so companies have to offset that, okay? Then let's see here. Looking at some other things. Some people say that the reality of this is not going to happen for this, that they're not going to make these changes and these things aren't going to get implemented, right? Those are AI naysayers that think that this stuff is not happening. It is, right? It's happening within companies and organizations. Like I see it in my business, and what I've been able to do with AI, working through AI, it would take a team of much larger than just me, basically, and a few assistants to get done. And so this is happening everywhere. And if you don't recognize that, or you think it's just made up, you're not plugged in enough to this, and you need to be more plugged in, and you need to get rid of that closed-mindedness and that scarcity-mindedness and look at what's actually going on for this. Let me look at some other things that people have said on here. Let's see here. Let's go down here. Let's see here. So one thing they says, why can't you shift laid off employees into new roles they're hiring for? Many of them already understand the product, business logic, users, and internal systems better than new hire ever could. Instead of laying people off and then hiring someone new for a slightly different role, companies could invest in short courses, tutorials, or internal training programs to help existing employees transition. That's true, but also some employees and some roles, like, they're just incompatible with where you're going in the future. It's just the reality. I mean, I wish it wasn't like that. I wish that you could take someone who is in one role and easily transport them into another role and them do just fine. But that's not the reality of how that works. I mean, some people refuse to learn. Some people refuse to get educated. Some people don't take initiative and they're not action takers. And the role that they're in is fine if they don't take initiative and they're not action takers, right? But the new role that you need them in, like, you need them to take initiative and be action takers. And it's very hard to shift someone's fundamental personal operating system into that new type of category. I wish it wasn't, but it is. Like, some people are never going to go to the gym and work out. Some people are never going to take care of their diet. They're never going to make it a priority, and you can't convince them otherwise. But then there are people that do, right? And so that's the reality of these companies, that like, it's just, there's not always a role for every type of personality. And unless you demonstrate that you're a person that can move into a new role, it's not going to happen. And for you, if you're listening and thinking about this, is that you have to identify where you're at today, who you are today, how you operate today, and really be truthful and honest and say, do I make the cut? Okay. And if you don't, you have to do the things that will help you make the cut. You have to start competing. You have to do that. Now, this is more important now than ever, because the last like 10, 15 years were liquidity rich environments for these companies. It's why they have such large staff, right? It's why that's happened, because we had tremendous amount of growth. There was a lot of free money. We didn't have AI transforming how companies worked over the past 10 to 15 years. Now we do. Now it has changed what one person is capable of in the same workday, okay? And so if you are still operating in the old ways, non-AI enhanced for your job, and your job or your role can be AI enhanced, and you've chosen actively not to embrace that, you're a liability, and you're just less productive than someone that is. And so when it comes down to it, why should you get the job? Why should you get the paycheck? Why should you get the role when the same version of yourself that chose to use AI, that chose to learn these things, that chose to double, triple, quadruple, or 10x their output in the same amount of hours per day, why should you get the role over them? They have family as well. They need to feed themselves, right? They have goals, they have dreams, they have aspirations as well, okay? And so you have to really be truthful and honest with yourself on that, okay? Let me see here what people say. This person says, at what point policy makers are going to panic of economic depression? If every company cuts 20% of employees, then there won't be customer demand. And without customer demand, a large chunk of GDP can disappear. I mean, that's a real potential worry. I don't think everyone's going to be cut. There will be homes for these new employees in new businesses. But I think the faulty thought process here is that 20% of all the workforce is just going to be not useful anymore. But I think what you missed and what this person missed and what I want to communicate is there is a shortage of people who have these skill sets, okay, that can be AI enhanced, that can get 10x the output for the same amount of hours in. There's a shortage of those people, which means the companies, these businesses, demand more of those people. So at the current point in time, yes, maybe there might be short-term layoffs of these people, but if the company is looking to grow and compete, they're now competing against other companies that have 10x or 100x employees and output, right? And what's one way that they can increase their output? Hire more people with those skill sets, right? Because you're like, okay, well, we found that we can get a maximum of 100x out of each person that we hire for these new roles in this ecosystem. That's great, but so did the other company that we're competing against. So how can we get even more output out, right? When we're running into upper limits when it comes to optimizing the output or maximizing the output per employee, well, you hire more employees. And so there's going to be new roles opened up that people who have embraced this are going to step into. So yes, you will have some cutting of the workforce. That is going to happen. Roles that were important and necessary before AI, right, are going to not exist anymore, but you're going to have new roles and there's going to be new demand for this. And my anecdotal reasoning for that is that all the people that I know that are really working through AI, that know this stuff, they're working more than ever. For better or worse, right? They are working and they're producing more than ever than they could before. And the need for people that have those skill sets is only going up, because what before it would be economically infeasible to have a team of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Because the output wouldn't be there to pay the cost of those people. Well, now you could have 5 to 10 people that are producing 10x to 100x of what they could have done before. And now you have the economic output to pay those people, okay? So that's happening as well. So there will be new roles and there will be new demand, and there is already new demand for people that know this stuff that can come in and transform the way these organizations work. You have people that transform how it works at a role by role level, but also by a department by department and a company by company and an industry by industry level, okay? So this is very, very important. Again, someone commented about like, Let's see here. They said, just cut to the chase and shut up. You're laying off 22% of an organization after they prove to the organization that they should be a part of the success that followed due to their hard work. You disregarded them and will try to use AI to replace them. Yes and no. Like, again, if times are changing, if the market demands different things, you have to make these choices. And it's not a good position to be in, right? Like, no one wants to say, okay, we have to hire the workforce. Fire 22% of the workforce. Like, no one wants that to happen. The reality is the market and the technology dictates that you have to make those changes. And if you don't, like, you have to ask, okay, well, how are you going to compete? If you don't make these changes, if they don't get rid of 22% of the workforce, how are they going to pay the people that are having a 10x to 100x more productivity within the organization? Okay, you have to think about that. Where's the money going to come from if they're doing that? And if the money's not going to come from anywhere by those people doing better, then what's going to happen is those people are going to leave and go to their competitors, and the company is going to die. It's going to fail because their competitors certainly are going to be doing that. And the competitors can come in the form of a startup that, just like Netflix did to Blockbuster, a startup that's small and lean is hiring this way from the get-go, right? And so that's playing out as well. So that's very, very important that you consider that when you think about this. And ultimately, you can be a person that complains and wants life to remain the same, that wants it to be like it always was, and that wishes these companies wouldn't adopt this stuff. But Pandora's box is open, and these companies are going to adopt it. They're going to use it because it's such a powerful tool. And if you don't start preparing and adapting for that time, again, you're going to be the one left behind, and you're going to be sitting there complaining without a paycheck. And I don't want that for anyone. And this is why I make these videos. This is why I want to communicate this. This is why I have my membership program, The Arsenal, where you can learn AI, see how I'm using it in my business, what tools I'm using, how I've 10x, even 100x my output through AI with a lean team. I show you how to do that in that program. You can check the link in the description for that. And the key thing, the takeaway, you don't have to buy that if you don't want to, but you need to start learning this stuff. You need to position yourself so that you can adapt to the times at hand. And if you don't, just know that, like, it's coming, right? The notice from HR is coming for you. And if your job is a job or a role that isn't necessary in the age of AI, like, that sucks. That really does suck. But instead of looking at it like, oh my gosh, I spent all this time and energy doing this thing, right? Now I should keep getting paid. No, you have to be like, okay, how can I pivot? How can I adapt? What experiences and skills have I learned from this that I can then leverage or combine with AI to become more valuable? And for a lot of people, and this excites me, right, is that you now can start businesses with AI that you maybe never would have started before. I imagine we're going to see a surge of, like, micro CEOs where they have AI teams to deploy their businesses in a way that they weren't able to before. I know personally, I built now software applications and things like that I wouldn't have been able to build before. Right? I basically have a software company now, and I have thousands of clients for my company, or customers for my company, because of what AI has allowed me to do. I wouldn't have been able to do this before. I would have had to hire a whole development team and go through months of development process in order to get these products and services out. But because of AI, I've been able to do that, compress the cost and compress the time frame, and build and run a company that wasn't economically feasible before. And this creates tremendous amounts of opportunities for those of you watching that recognize that. So rather than being like, woe is me, this is terrible, oh, this is corporate greed, you need to just get that out of your mind, right? Get those scarce and negative thoughts out of your mind and shift to abundance and positive thoughts, and think about how you can take your experiences and your skill sets and leverage them with AI, right? Because that's becoming the benchmark, the standard, the baseline to be valuable in this new economy that we're entering into. And yeah, it's uncomfortable. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. And you can either adapt, or you can, as I say in my book that's coming out, like, you can either get on the new ship to go to the new world, and it's going to be perilous. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be turbulence. There's going to be storms, and not every ship's going to make it. But you either embrace that risk and opportunity, or you can stay behind where it's dying, where the world is dying, where there's going to be less opportunities, where you're not going to be able to make as much, where it's only a matter of time before you get that call saying, hey, we have to let you go. I don't want that to happen to you. The people that take action and adapt and don't whine and complain and resent this stuff, right? Those are going to be the winners. And the people that don't, like, unfortunately, you're going to be a loser. And I don't want that. So as many of you that are watching and listening can take that to heart and actually take action, you'll be better off. So that's it for this video. Follow along for more. Peace.